Hi, we're going to carry on with our parallel line pattern development on our T's, and so far we've laid out the equal diameter 90, the unequal diameter 90, and now we're going to lay off a unequal diameter off center, and that one is this front one here, and we can see that it's not centered on the pipe anymore. Okay, so we're going to offset it to one side. It can be flush on one side, or it can just be anywhere within the pipe, but not on center per se. So let's start off with our full front elevation and side elevation. Okay, so I've got my first, my front miter line established, and I've gone through and found 1 and 1. So point 1 and point 1 come down here, and 2 and 2, and 3 and 3, 4 and 4, etc., and then back up. Now I'm going to go around the back side now. So the back side we're going to 0.8 now, because we already did 1 to 7. We'll come to 8. So 0.8 is here, and that's pretty close to the top. So that's up in this one here. And then 9 and 9, that's up there too. That actually rises a little bit. And 10, that one's down. And then it's going to come back 11, up a little bit. There we go. So we have a really shallow miter line for the back side, and on the front side we have this peak because we know it's coming to center because it's flat here. This is what causes our peak here. And then our shallow side, we can see if we brought up center, it doesn't come down very far as the height this way, right? So it's not going down into the pipe much on the right-hand side. So now we've got our miter lines, we can go on to our stretch out here now. Okay, now again, we can take our points from our miter lines and project them into our stretch out. Again, we'll choose a spot where we want our seam. Let's just choose number 1 again. 1, and we'll label our stretch out. Start and end at 1 to create 1 point. And we project our points in, or pick up 1 and transfer 1. Pick up 2 and transfer 2. But going back, remembering back on our last videos, we know that we don't always require this front elevation. We want to be able to imagine the miter line, and it's nice to see that miter line, but it's not essential to create our pattern. We can work from here. And what we said in the last video is we know our seam height, we know how much above the pipe the T will rise. And what we also said was it doesn't matter where this profile is. If it was up tall or way up here and we still projected it, it would still hit the same points. And when we hit those points, it gives us the height in here which we require. So the key component to this type of layout is finding where the T hits the pipe. Okay, that is the key. And where it hits the pipe will give us this distance here, which then becomes scrap in our pattern. And it'll give us our shape that we want. So again, let's go into looking at that in a different way. Last time I swung a quarter circle because we had a line of symmetry. This time we don't have that line of symmetry. So we require a half circle in this case for an off-center because we want to see what it does left to right here. It's different. Okay, so let's divide the T. Bring those points, the divisions of the T, into the pipe. And those will then create our horizontals. Those two are almost in the exact same spot. Here, this is 1, 7 here, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we follow our points. 1, 1 is here, 2, 2 is there, and so on. Connect all of those to make our pattern. And again, our pattern is not going to be symmetrical because it's not symmetrical, it's off-center. So our shape in this particular one comes at our peak here and then turns up, something like that. So again, because we're not symmetrical left to right, it's not going to be symmetrical in our pattern. We're not going to have shapes the same on both sides. And that's our off-center T. Something also to note on this one, if we look at our sample again, and if we're looking at it this way, right, we see, and we're seeing the flush up front here, we rotate it this way. Right? So that the flat is on this side here. The other way is to look at it this way, where we can't see the flush. It's the offset, the small portion here, and then we'd turn it this way and we'd be flush on the other side. So keeping in mind which way you're going, but always bringing the right side around, be it this way or the other way. Okay?